Let me now assure every Nigerian that this administration will continue to do its best to secure the nation.
Nigeria's anti-corruption crusade gets more bites with 3 new laws.
We shall therefore do all we can to uplift the standard of our educational system.
Have pity on Nigerian students, President Buhari appeals to ASU.
We have an infrastructure challenge that seems almost impossible to surmount, just looking at the figures. But really, it's taking it bit by bit.
African leaders embrace advocacy and homegrown solutions to development challenges.
There are many progressive provisions in the Electoral Act 2022 which require clear understanding.
Also tonight, INEC Media Parley discusses key aspects of 2022 Electoral Act. Good evening. Welcome to NTA Network News. I'm Cyril Stover in Abuja. Hingino John Adams will be joining from Lagos in the course of this broadcast. And you can follow it live on our website, nta.ng/live, and all our social media platforms displayed on the screen. The federal government says it will not leave anything to chance in its unshakable resolve towards ridding Nigeria of the menace of money laundering, terrorism, and other financial crimes. President Muhammadu Buhari stated this while signing into law 3 new bills passed by the National Assembly aimed at enhancing the fight against corruption and terrorism, as well as other acts of economic sabotage. State House correspondent Adam Musambo reports.
At a brief but very significant event, President Muhammadu Buhari signs into law the Money Laundering, Prevention and Prohibition Bill, Terrorism, Prevention and Prohibition Bill, as well as the Proceeds of Crime Recovery and Management Bill 2022. The acts, as now been referred to, will not only strengthen the anti-money laundering and counter-terrorist financing framework in the country, but also address identified deficiencies in the task of effectively ridding Nigeria of corruption and related acts of economic sabotage.
Let me now assure every Nigerian that this administration will continue to do its best to secure the nation. These bills represent not just legislative instruments, but very significant governmental actions, projecting courage, determination, and sincerity in tackling the menace of money laundering, terrorism, and other financial crimes.
The Money Laundering Act confers on the EFCC the legal status of the Special Control Unit against Money Laundering. The Terrorism Act, amongst others, suppresses financing of terrorism, while the Proceeds of Crime Act makes comprehensive provision for the seizure, confiscation, forfeiture, and management of properties derived from unlawful activity.
The fight against corruption requires an all-of-government, all-of-nation approach, and as such, each of us as Nigerians have a role to play. We will not rest until we rid the nation of the menace of money laundering, terrorism, and other financial crimes. And God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
And even before the signing of these 3 bills, we have achieved very, very significant landmarks in the fight against corruption in Nigeria. And with signing of those 3 bills today, we have taken the fight against corruption to a much higher level. And our prayer and hope is that Nigeria will now be further recognized as one key central country, a partner of international repute in the fight against corruption, not only in our country, but across the globe.
Apart from the enough punitive measures and containment strategies provided against abuses and compromises, the new laws also mandates the creation of dedicated accounts for the proceeds of crime and other confiscated assets towards enhancing accountability.
This is a great milestone by this administration, a real breakthrough, because the three bills amended contain so many elements of best practices internationally. That's from civil forfeiture to prohibition of terrorism financing, issues of partnership with other countries, and so on and so forth. So the bill means a lot for both the global community and more especially West African countries.
The new laws enhance the desire of the society to fight corruption, money laundering, and terrorism financing. So we should expect an improvement in the efforts that anti-corruption agencies have been making in this regard.
So we are going to be everywhere, going forward to ensure the enforcement of the law and to ensure that those avenues, where the gatekeepers are assisting, the corrupt element within the society to launder their process of crime are now being watched strongly, with the legal framework that the new bill have given the EFCC.
During the event, President Muhammadu Buhari once again applauded the National Assembly for its tenacity, courage, and commitment to ensuring that Nigeria put in place effective measures towards addressing money laundering, terrorism, and terrorist financing for a stable and prosperous economy. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
37 individuals and 11 organizations were conferred with the National Productive Order of Merit Award for the 2019 to 2020 editions. What stood out this time around is the posthumous award to those who died in the course of fighting COVID-19 and others still fighting diseases. Emmanuel Ayimiru captured the moment.
Tostella Adidevo died in 2014, saving Nigeria from Ebola. Babatunde Lawal bowed to the heat of COVID-19 in line of duty. Both were remembered and honored posthumously for their sacrifice and patriotism. For his outstanding performance in Nigeria's battle against COVID-19, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, was also recognized.
We believe that we still have a lot to offer this country in terms of the national response and in terms of enhancing productivity in all aspects of affairs of government and our lives.
We're able to put a very strong system in place to protect Lagos and by extension the rest of Nigeria, and also all the health workers, many of whom died in Lagos. We want to dedicate this award to everybody in Lagos and across Nigeria.
It's an amazing feeling that the federal government, even as at 8 years later, is recognizing her sacrifice and her death. It's a major honor, and as a family, we're very grateful.
Other award recipients include the national chairman of the APC, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, for his proficiency in public administration, particularly agriculture and manufacturing industries, for their contributions to economic growth. The award lecture provided an opportunity for a rethink on ways to boost productivity through improved educational system.
There's no substitute to quality education, and I don't. People take their children from private schools to public schools for quality education.
Education is the engine of growth. It's also an instrument for achieving higher productivity. Helps to develop critical thinking, drive creativity and innovation.
We believe there's a nexus between the quality of education and productivity. Because if you don't have the skill, if you don't have the competence, there's no way you can deliver as far as productivity is concerned.
The event, organized by the National Productivity Center, is a way to reward hard work and creativity. Emmanuel Ayimiru, NTA News.
Well, it was at this same National Productivity Awards ceremony that President Muhammadu Buhari called on members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, to consider the plight of Nigerian students and call off their ongoing industrial action. The president also urged students in Nigeria's public tertiary institutions to exercise patience as government strives to address the nagging issues in the nation's university system within available resources.
The 7 eminent Nigerians and 11 organizations in both public and private sectors of the nation's economy were conferred with the National Productivity Order of Merit Award for their high productivity, hard work, and excellence in the last 2 years. Speaking on the theme of this year's celebrations, achieving higher productivity through improved educational system, President Muhammadu Buhari said he is not oblivious of the numerous challenges bedeviling the education sector. He expressed the conviction that given the tenacity with which the challenges are being addressed by his administration, a better and more improved educational system will be achieved.
Qualitative and durable educational system will not only set our country on the path of sustainable growth, but will also guarantee Nigerians a higher standard of living and improved quality of life. We shall therefore do all we can to uplift the standard of our educational system. I want to use this opportunity to call on the Academic Staff Union and the universities to consider the plight of our students and call off the ongoing strike action.
The President directed his Chief of Staff, Ministers of Labor and Employment, Education, as well as Finance, Budget and National Planning to immediately bring all parties to the negotiation table to critically look at the gray areas in the demands of not only ASU, but all other university-based labor unions. He said if Nigeria is to be transformed into a competitive, strong, vibrant, productive, and sustainable economy, improving the educational system should be accorded the highest priority.
Fellow Nigerians, may I, at this juncture, appreciate your unflinching support, patience, and patriotism in the midst of these hard times in our nation. A lot has been accomplished, but there is still much to be done. I assure you that this administration is committed to the Nigerian people, and we are determined to remain resolute in our commitments and shall continue with our programs and plans to strengthen the institutions to enhance governance for effective service delivery, national development, and global competitiveness.
President Buhari had earlier congratulated all the awardees for their various accomplishments and well-deserved recognition. The awards, he however said, should spur them to greater heights, as productivity is a fundamental determinant of rapid economic growth, social progress, and improved standards of living. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Well, in response to President Buhari's directive for a tripartite meeting to find a lasting solution to universities' strikes, the Chief of Staff to the President, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, is heading a delegation of government representatives at a meeting with ASU, NASU, SANU, and NAT at the Presidential Villa. The focus of the meeting is to narrow all contending issues to a point where progress can be made towards addressing all of the concerns of the university unions once and for all. Representatives of the Nigeria Interreligious Council, NIREC, led by the Sultan, and the CAN president are involved in the current negotiations and are calling for resumption of academic activities in public tertiary institutions while the talks continue. Before the meeting progressed into a closed-door session, the presidents of ASU, NASU, SANU, and NAT urged the assemblage to consider applying a positive approach to all outstanding contentious remaining issues. In the meantime, reactions continue to trail the 12-week extension of the industrial action by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, as aggrieved citizens express concerns over what they say has become a culture of unending strikes by university-based unions in Nigeria. Christiana Akondi felt the pulse of some students and parents within the metropolis on the issue.
In fact, Nigerian university has been considered one of the universities that you graduate in 8 years because of strike. This strike is not only today. He has been linking over years in the past administration.
Material at home,
they are not doing anything. They are trying to engage themselves in doing certain manual jobs because they want to keep themselves busy.
They say we are the leaders of tomorrow, and this is what we get. It was difficult for I would say majority of all of us to get admission into university. Now, this is what is happening.
An average Nigerian writes like 2-3 jams just to get admission, and then you get the admission, you can't even graduate.
It is not just a certificate we are after. The environment, conducive atmospheric condition of learning of our students, that they can be able to proud of themselves that they graduated from Nigerian university. It is not going to be a mushroom university whereby you can just go and all universities in Nigeria, they are with full intellectuals, full professors and doctors who struggle very hard before they can attain their PhD or professors.
Conversely, the emergence of 12 new private universities issued with provisional licenses to operate across the country is rekindling hope for increased access to tertiary education for Nigerian students. Kenneth Nanim reports.
The Federal Executive Council had on the 6th of April this year approved the establishment of 12 new private universities, 4 weeks after the institutions concerned are being presented with their operational licenses.
You should sustain funding towards improving an infrastructure, equipment for teaching and learning, as well as human resources up to a level that will earn your university accreditation by the NUC.
Aside increasing access to quality tertiary education, the relevant authorities are particular about quality assurance and maintenance of standards.
NUC will continue to discuss the quality assurance mechanisms, to carry out them, and then to continue to get them to see university education more or less as a non-profit venture.
But then, could the new private universities be the hope for the 1.7 million candidates who sat for the 2022 UTME, or for students of public universities who have been at home due to ongoing ASU strike?
The on strike is really something unfortunate, but that shouldn't stop effort to get a new one. And that's why I'm also very interested that the ASU and the government should really sit together and see that our children get back to school.
It's an opportunity for us to contribute in his name our own quota for the national development and for the promotion of education, a way of providing skills and training for the labor market.
While new tertiary institutions emerge, concerns remain over the status of existing ones, especially public-owned tertiary institutions that have been shut down for over 12 weeks now. The question is, will government accede to the demands of university-based unions, or would ASU, for instance, shift ground for the benefits of the students and the Nigerian educational system? Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
We'll take a break now. When we return, there'll be more news. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. President Muhammadu Buhari this Thursday granted audience to the outgoing Secretary General of the Anglican Communion Worldwide, Archbishop Josiah Idowu Ferron, wishing the clergyman, who he describes as a true friend, the best in future endeavors. The president thanked Archbishop Ferron, a recognized proponent of Christian-Muslim dialogue, for promoting coexistence between followers of the major faiths, as well as academic discipline. He described as pleasing the fact that the Most Reverend Ferron, upon his retirement, plans to return to Nigeria and continue with his work of promoting Christian-Muslim understanding at the center he established in Kaduna. The nation, President Buhari said, will continue to cherish Idowu Ferron's efforts to heal the society, especially at the height of the Boko Haram attacks, which he followed up even while abroad, treating victims of terror as if they were his family members. Archbishop Idowu Ferron reminisced about his close relationship with the president and thanked him for the enormous amount of sacrifices he's making to make Nigeria a better country. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says it has become increasingly necessary for African leaders to approach development challenges using solution modules inspired by indigenous peculiarities. The Vice President is calling on leaders in the continent to develop homegrown yet feasible solution approaches to solve Africa's infrastructural, energy, and unemployment crises. Ikechukwu Ndukwe reports.
Rising youth unemployment, security crisis, infrastructural deficiency, and climate change are some burdens Africa is battling to overcome.
There is a generational betrayal for us to have our young ones not have gainful employment, and it's something every one of us should be concerned about.
With the launch of $2 billion as economic recovery for African governments, African Finance Corporation hopes to see leaders in the continent rebuild resilience, localized strategies and innovative ideas to solve these problems. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo and President Nana Akufo of Ghana say only roundtable discussions among leaders can salvage the situation in Africa.
An infrastructure challenge that seems almost impossible to surmount just looking at the figures. But really it's taking it bit by bit.
There is no doubt that producing and sourcing raw materials within Africa is the sure way to go. Ikechukwu Ndukwe, NTA News.
And the struggle continues for constitutional reinstatement of statutory roles for traditional rulers in Nigeria as its umbrella body, the National Council of Traditional Rulers of Nigeria, meets with the President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan. Ignatius Nkwo will tell us more.
Long before colonization, the traditional rulers have been in charge of managing security, peace and development processes in their domains. Till this day, they still carry out most of these roles, acting as the middlemen in relating government policies and programs to the grassroots, where they have the trust of the people as the custodians of values, norms and tradition. But there is a snag there. The 1979 Constitution didn't capture the statutory roles they have been enjoying, and since then, they have been advocating a review. A move to effect the change was made during the 9th National Assembly's amendment of the 1999 Constitution, but it failed to meet the 73 votes required at the Senate. Well, these royal fathers are not giving up.
At the lower chambers, we are very fortunate to send through their debate and exercise to once again appeal to the upper chambers to reconsider the position.
The man at the center of the interface says the monarchs are prepared to achieve results.
We are here to lobby to see that they should represent this bill back and reconsider our position, the proposal of traditional ruler to include the role of traditional ruler in the constitutional amendment. If for the interest of the country and for the interest is confident when we are now recognized in the constitution, meaning that we are having confidence to do our job, having a constitutional backup.
The President of the Senate could not agree less.
We have taken the right decision by coming back, and we'll find out why we jumped 10 short, 10 words short. The process of constitution review is a continuous process. The traditional institutions held particularly in the security apparatus and architecture.
Senator Lawan also wants those whose bills could not scale through at the National Assembly to take a cue from the action of these traditional leaders. Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Director General, National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, Dr. Fatima Waziri Azi, is calling for increased citizen participation towards preventing the trafficking of persons in and out of Nigeria. She made the appeal while briefing the Presidential Communications team on the status of NAPTIP in the fight against human trafficking in the country. Correspondent Aliu Kabir reports.
National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, is a law enforcement agency with a mandate to tackle the scourge of human trafficking in Nigeria. It has the powers to investigate and prosecute all cases of trafficking in persons. This is in fulfillment of the UN Convention on Transitional Crime and the Protocol to Prevent, suppress and punish trafficking in persons. The Director General of NAPTIP, Dr. Fatima Waziri Azi, highlighted the success stories which she termed as milestone policy, prevention, protection and partnership, enumerating various policies and programs towards the prevention of child trafficking as well as protecting and assisting victims, to include National Action Plan on Human Trafficking in Nigeria 2022 to 2026.
Human trafficking in Nigeria is not a problem, ladies and gentlemen. It is a national crisis, as the volume is enormous and widespread. We carry out awareness campaigns and sensitizations deliberately designed to educate people about human trafficking and what drives it.
The DG also highlighted the way forward for the protection of victims.
NAPTIP has rescued, sheltered, and rehabilitated 17,727 victims of human trafficking. And out of this figure, we have over 4,000 males and over 13,000 females.
With the partnership involving all the relevant stakeholders from within and outside the country, Dr. Waziri Azi emphasized the need to double effort towards ending the scourge and to show empathy and support to victims of human trafficking, describing it as a challenge which requires more public enlightenment on the dangers and the negative consequences in the country and humanity.
Greater success would demand greater engagement, not only from the government of Nigeria, but of all of society. I therefore employ continued support from all stakeholders, as everyone has a responsibility. This is an issue which must concern everyone, every community, and every business, because it is in many ways the yardstick of a just and equitable society.
NAPTIP, which is one of the agencies under the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, is also empowered to implement the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act 2015. From the State House, Aliu Kabir, NTA News.
First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Buhari, has expressed appreciation for the support she has been receiving from members of the diplomatic community towards improving the lives of women and children in Nigeria through her foundation, the Future Assured Program. The First Lady stated this during a dinner in honor of female heads of diplomatic missions, UN agencies, as well as the spouses of ambassadors and high commissioners to Nigeria as part of activities to commemorate Eid al-Fitr. Here again is State House correspondent Aliu Kabir.
This gathering has provided the opportunity to strengthen the relationship between the First Lady of Nigeria and members of the diplomatic community in charting a new course towards promoting lots of women, youth and children. The First Lady appreciates the support rendered to her towards bridging the gap in the health, education and economic empowerment, particularly the education of a girl child. As the president of the Africa First Ladies Peace Mission, Mrs. Buhari used the occasion to inform the gathering of their resolve to renew their commitment towards peace building in Africa. She also urged the female heads of diplomatic missions and the spouses of the ambassadors to Nigeria to use their influence towards promoting women participation in politics.
I therefore appeal for more support in building bridges to help wage peace as opposed to war. We should endeavor to build stronger alliances for our future and the future of the next generation. While thanking you most sincerely for all you have done, I equally urge you to do more, especially in promoting women participation in politics. I believe that women participation and empowerment is directly proportional to nations' development.
Members of the diplomatic community expressed their views on their experiences in Nigeria. They commended the contribution of the Aisha Buhari Foundation in transforming the lives of women, youth and children, promising to remain key players in the project.
It's great to hear of your role as the African First Ladies Peace Mission. And like the opening speaker said, I think as diplomats, we have a really critical role to play at this terrible time of conflict and war. It's an honour to serve in Nigeria, where I think, despite all the challenges, Nigeria is making huge strides.
We're very happy to be here, and we take the opportunity to work
for the interests of our countries, for mutual interest with our host country, Nigeria, in further strengthening our bilateral relations. I just want to pledge that UN Women and other UN agencies will continue to back and support this work that you're doing for gender equality and women's empowerment.
The First Lady reaffirmed her determination not to relent in her efforts in collaboration with the development partners towards providing succor to the less privileged persons in the society. From the State House, Aliu Kabir, NTA News.
Time now to join Hingino in Lagos for more reports. Hingino.
Thank you, Cyril. The Joint Committee of the National Assembly on Land Transportation has tasked the China Civil Engineering Construction Corporation to deploy a modern security framework that will help to protect rail infrastructure and possibly lead to the rescue of those abducted along the Kaduna-Abuja rail line. The chairman of the committee, Abdul Fattah Buhari, stated this while leading other members on inspection of the Lagos-Ibadan rail corridor. Michael Olale reports.
Massive infrastructure in rail transportation has no doubt changed the spectrum of mobility in Nigeria. But a clog in the wheel of this accelerated development is security. Within a year, 2 major attacks have been carried out on rail tracks, with 62 persons still missing from the last incident, which occurred about 50 days ago. The chairman of the Joint Committee on Land Transportation is obviously furious, considering the trauma being suffered by relatives of those abducted. He made a passionate appeal to the China Civil Engineering Construction Corporation, CCECC, to use its network in assisting the federal government to rescue those abducted, while suggesting the inclusion of internet facilities on board trains.
If we have the services of the service provider that's selected, and then you have a Wi-Fi in the train, it will help. Probably that will have saved a lot of things that day, because immediately they see the attack, when they may see somebody that will be smart and they say, please, we are being attacked.
The Nigerian Railway Corporation is already working on increasing surveillance on the rail network, while affected lines on the Kaduna-Abuja rail have been restored. In spite of this, however, the agency said commencement of service on that axis will be determined by necessary clearance from security agencies.
I'm making sure that we work with security agencies to provide security, additional security, which I can't talk about the details. Now we're going to use technology, and it's only then when we're sure that we will open up the line. So that should give people the assurance that, things are being done. However, also on the existing lines, we're doing the same thing.
Areas of challenges ranging from fixing of access rules to train stations along the Lagos-Ibadan standard gauge rail line and addressing the problem of electricity, which might pose a threat to signaling, the committee assured will be speedily looked into. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NTA News.
Beyond establishing a maritime security framework for securing its exclusive economic zone, Nigeria is suggesting to African countries under the Abuja MOU that at least 15% of foreign vessels calling at ports should be inspected within individual maritime domain. This, it is believed, is vital to enhancing safety. Again, Michael Olale reports.
Driven by the commitment to eradicate substandard shipping process while also reducing marine pollution, the Memorandum of Understanding on Port State Control for the West and Central African region, generally referred to as Abuja MOU, was established in 1999. It is one of the 9 MOUs which operates under a cooperative agreement with the International Maritime Organization, IMO, and with 22 member states stretching from Mauritania to South Africa. The goal is to fully harmonize procedures using local laws and international conventions to regulate foreign ships trading within the region.
Of IMO declared
the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, one of the leading regulatory organizations within the region, has executed 4 legal instruments, but the agency is calling on member states to renew commitment in ensuring that laid-down regulations are strictly followed.
Let us renew our resolve to collectively ensure the minimum percentage, which is 15% of foreign vessels, that should be inspected in our individual maritime domain.
The Secretary General of the Abuja MOU wants maritime administrations to up their games by leveraging on networking and technology.
Soft and e-technologies are slowly gaining momentum and reducing human interaction. With this, the world, including post-state regime, needs to stay in tandem to match the trend.
The IMO harped more on the need for feedback, especially from audited administrations.
IMO is willing and able to assist the countries to implement those corrective action plans, but the initiation will have to come from you.
While members are using this platform to strengthen maritime safety, it was the consensus of maritime administrations here that more still need to be done to make the region's waters secured.
Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles. Time now for a break. The news continues shortly.
Back in Abuja, medical tourism remains an economic conduit, pillaging the resources of most developing countries. Nigeria is not exempt, with limited number of modern intensive care units and facilities capable of providing cutting-edge healthcare services. Our correspondent Dayo Mushola, however, says one private healthcare facility in Nizamiye Hospital in Abuja is attempting to change the narrative, with its focus now fixated on catering to the needs of high-risk patients.
The concept of intensive care unit in hospitals officially dates back to 1929. Today, innovations in healthcare services combined with emerging diseases are creating compelling needs for increased availability of intensive care units.
What that means is limiting damage that diseases can cause. It means saving more lives. Let me give you a typical example. Somebody that has a cardiac arrest, heart attack. If you don't have a critical care unit, an ICU unit, what will be of that patient? Therefore, it's necessary. And having it available means making healthcare delivery more complete.
Nizamiye Hospital, Abuja, is no doubt one of the few health facilities around repositioning critical healthcare services through the state-of-the-art intensive care unit. Aside the serene atmosphere, adult and neonatal intensive care units, professionally divided into isolation and main units, each boasting of modern facilities such as incubators, infusion pumps, medical ventilators, among other patient stabilizing equipment.
So the difference of the Nizamiye Hospital, our all expatriate doctors for every department, 24 hours in 7 days, they are living in the compound of the hospital, so they are available 24 hours. Within 5 minutes, they can be in the hospital for the emergency issues.
For example, during the examination or emergency, any patient, anything happened, maybe needs urgent caring. If you have a good equipped ICU, you can help. Otherwise, it is risky. Our ICU designed into 4 parts. One part is simple issues, simple surgeries.
Lives have been saved, sufferings have been removed, minimized to minimum for those that have been able to access the services.
Seated on a 24-hectare landmass, the facility, no doubt, is a ray of hope in tertiary health care in Nigeria. In Abuja, Dayo Mushola, NTA News.
The Association of Nigerian Development Finance Institutions, ANFI, is repositioning itself to foster the level of development desired for sustainable growth in Nigeria. This was the crux of the matter at the association's annual General Assembly held in Abuja. Musa Abubakar reports.
More and more micro, small, and medium enterprises are thriving in Nigeria, courtesy of development finance institutions.
Sustainable financing, how can we reduce unemployment? How can we use the DFIs to create businesses that will employ the teeming youth that we have?
A lot more businesses like that of Victory Ogochukwu, who is an artist, need micro loans to expand.
If we have federal government support, little, we can go a long way.
Association of Nigerian Development Finance Institutions, ANFI, is here to renew commitment to upscale its contribution to the real sector at this second annual General Assembly. Executives are pledging resources and cooperation to grow the sector, leveraging on innovative financing for sustainable development.
The cooperation is good. The support from Central Bank is there. And then people are talking to each other.
So far, they've done over 91 billion in terms of guarantees to financial institutions, to online, to micro, small, and medium enterprises. And out of that, in terms of job creation, from our analysis, they will have created over 58,000 jobs through their activities.
To find innovative ways and innovative solutions, and development banks are one of the key instruments that have the potential to do that, because they are central in their dealing.
The new logo unveiled resonates the unity of purpose of the association to drive the growth of the Nigerian economy. In Abuja, I am Musa Abubakar, NTA News.
The federal government is taking another step to further address post-harvest losses, particularly in rural communities, by developing mini-grid solar systems to power storage facilities and boost rural economy. Joshua Ojito reports that Rural Electrification Agency is driving the new initiative to bridge energy gap in rural areas.
2 years of feasibility study concluded. It's no longer an idea, but now a reality, as the Rural Electrification Agency adds to its menu of renewable energy solutions, energizing agriculture program to power agricultural activities and boost rural economy.
With solar energy, our people are going to be very happy, and then the value chain of agriculture is going to strive very well.
Areas of priority which the mini-grids will be deployed are irrigation, processing and storage, so as to address post-harvest losses.
For us, the key priority remains that we ensure that we deploy these solutions in rural communities, and we measure the impact to ensure that that electricity is used in a productive manner.
The federal government has adopted to expand for the next 4 years few projects that were part of the economic sustainability plan. Basically, the Solar Niger, the Agriculture for Food and Jobs Plan, Rural Roads Development, and these programs and mass housing are to run for another 4 years from 2022.
Technical working group set up to identify existing agro-processing clusters for the deployment of renewable energy solutions for agricultural activities, with private sector participation and support from development partners. Expectations are high among farmers that the deployment of solar systems will ensure food security in the country. Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
Now for another quick break, we'll be back. Thanks for staying with us. And onto the political scene now. The Independent National Electoral Commission is working out details on the implementation of electronic transmission and collation of results as provided in Section 60 of the 2022 Electoral Act. To this end, the Commission is getting contributions from media chiefs at a consultative meeting in Abuja. Mia Ugidi reports.
A meeting between the pen and the ballot. The meeting to finalize the details in the INEC guidelines ahead of the Ekiti and Osun governorship polls, as well as the 2023 elections.
There are many progressive provisions in the Electoral Act 2022 which require clear understanding to guide implementation. One of such provisions is the electronic transmission of election result.
Election results will be transmitted electronically, the INEC boss told the members of the Penn family. To make it more transparent, here is an assurance.
The Commission will also work with the security agencies to ensure the safety and security of journalists and their unimpeded access to all voting and collation locations during elections.
This gladdens the media chiefs, but a word for INEC and practicing journalists.
I want to appeal that you don't pander to the capricious whims of political actors. Remain resolute. We must ensure that we report with responsibility.
Meanwhile, INEC will suspend the pre-online registration for the continuous voter registration exercise on the 30th of May. This will enable the Commission to complete the physical aspect of the exercise before the 30th of June, when the exercise will be temporarily suspended. Mie Ogidi, NTA News.
And it's no longer a rumor. Businessman and frontline politician Sani Sha'aban has bought and submitted the APC governorship expression of interest and nomination forms for Kaduna State. Salihu Gwanara reports.
Again, 2011, and contested under ACN and won. But still God said it's not yet our time.
Sani Sha'aban on the move again as he formally submits the APC governorship expression of interest and nomination forms ahead of the primary election, having tested the political waters of Kaduna State twice as a candidate in 2007 and 2011. Sani Sha'aban believes the All Progressives Congress is the platform that will help actualize his dream move to Hassan Kastina House.
By the glory of God, today APC is in governance at the national level. Today, APC is in governance in Kaduna State. So we are hoping and willing the aspirations and the yearning of those people that have been voting us in, but silently waiting, because the almighty PDP at that time could not give us those opportunities. But this is the right time now.
If eventually he gets the party's ticket, Sani is conversant with the task ahead.
So there will be peace. And when there is peace, there will be agriculture. When there is peace, there will be economic activities. When there is peace, there is going to be educational development. And when there is peace, there is going to be love and tranquility. That is our main priority.
Like others who have passed through this stage, the party fixed 14th May 2022 as the date for primary elections. From the International Conference Center in Abuja, Saliu Gonara, NTA News.
The 2023 general elections promise to be far more intriguing than the last elections in 2015. And it's already showing signs of that. Now, this perhaps informs the decision by someone who prides himself as a keen observer of politics and political trends in Nigeria to write a book titled Becoming President of Nigeria. Omenka Marachukwu was at the event to formally launch the book in Abuja.
Yunus Uibe is the author of the book Becoming the President of Nigeria, A Citizen's Guide. One of the amazing revelations about the book, captured in several chapters, is a compendium of various qualities of an ideal president.
The simple thing there that I said, if you want to become president of Nigeria, be like MK Abiola. We all know the qualities that the late MK Abiola, had. He was a loving person. He was an affable person. He spread his love, his wealth across the country.
The book will serve as a reference material for research work. In Abuja, Omenka Marachukwu, NTA News.
The death has occurred of Reverend Enoch Ofoma of Umunealam, Umudim Newi local government area of Anambra, who died at the age of 75. He is survived by his wife, Linda Aneju Ofoma, of the Office of the Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, 4 children and 5 grandchildren. The service of songs will hold tomorrow, Friday, May 13th, by 4:30 p.m. at Christ Church, number 1 Force Avenue, Port Harcourt. This will be followed by a funeral service at Ebenezer Anglican Church, Umudim Newi, Anambra State. A Thanksgiving service comes up on Sunday, May 22 by 8 a.m. at the same church. And that concludes Network News Tonight. Thank you for watching, but remember to be part of the fight against rape and rapists. Join that in association with the NTA. I'm Cyril Stober. Good night.